In carp fishing, few things seem to be shrouded in as much mystery and even fear as braided mainline. Sure, we use it on our marker and spod rods, but when it comes to using it as a fishing line, then people tend to shy away. If you know what it can do and what it can't do, then it really is quite simple to get the best out of braid. So why would you pick braid over mono? The two are very different materials indeed. Mono stretches and braid doesn't. What that means is you're using a marker float is that you can feel everything underwater transmitted back through the braid. When you use it as a main line, that can be heart-stopping when you're playing a fish, but it also means when you land on those spots, you know what you're fishing over. The diameter is also very different. Braid is super thin compared to mono. That means when you're casting, there's less resistance, less drag, you can cast a lot further. And finally, it's tough. Really tough compared to mono. It can rub against underwater snags without a problem, but also, and braid is expensive, but it can last much longer on your reel, so you don't have to replace it as often as you do with mono. Now, there are a couple of things to be mindful of when using braid. Firstly, check that the fishery permits its use as a mainline, and if so, the biggest problem you're likely to face is wind knots. Now, braid has such a low diameter and is lightweight, so it can be prone to tangles. The best way to eradicate that is to make sure it's loaded onto your spool properly in the first place. Now, give it a soak before you wind it on and make sure you crank it onto the spool under tension. That way, it will bed down nicely and won't slip on the spool. Also, using water as a lubricant when you're fishing is a good idea as well. Give a few splashes over the spool before you begin casting out. And finally, remember that the lack of stretch that makes braid so good for feature finding can work against you when it comes to playing fish. The first few carp that you play on braid will probably give you a heart attack because there isn't that inherent cushion that you get with the stretch of monofilament. But adjust your style, use your clutch and take your time and you should be fine. Now, there are plenty of braids on the market, but few have stood the test of time as well as Berkley's Whiplash. The original has been around for decades, and now this American-made line has been given a makeover. Whiplash 8 is wound with 8 strands of Dyneema. That means it's got a rounder, smoother profile, and genuinely it is smoother to the touch than its predecessor. In terms of its properties, it will now go through your rings quieter and it will go through the air with less resistance. It's also said to be tougher when it comes to snags and underwater obstacles. Whiplash 8 is available in various breaking strains and on various size spools.